Hello, everyone.
Hello, Jude. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I hope it's afternoon where you are because it's afternoon here.
Yeah.
I had someone tell Juliana good morning, so I hope I'm not greeting anyone out of time. Please, so we are in afternoon. So if I say good afternoon, just take it in good faith.
Yeah, we're in afternoon now. It's exactly noon here. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome everyone. Welcome convener Juliana, Imam, our mentors, and all participants and mentees. My name is Jude Ayua. I'm a legal practitioner and have special interest in IT law and intellectual property law as well. For today, I'll be your anchor on the artificial and technology law mentorship program.
Okay, I think Jude might be having like a technical issue. So you're welcome to the mentorship program for artificial intelligence and technology. Okay.
Sorry, a call came. Yeah, hello, I'm here. Sorry, a call came in. I put that off already. Can you still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well. Sorry about that. A call came in, but I've sorted that out. Okay. So once again, you're all welcome. I'll be introducing the program to us. So the JIIPCC Intellectual Property Mentorship and Internship Program is a quarterly program for students, young professionals, and enthusiasts across Africa. Mentees are afforded the opportunity to access valuable advice, training, network, mentorship, internship, discussion forums, industry updates, and resource materials from experienced mentors. The program seeks to encourage continuous training, development, and evolution in Africa and around the world. You can watch our videos by searching for JIIPCC on YouTube and Facebook with the hashtag JIIPCC-MIP. Now, here are the objectives of the program. A, to provide professional guidance, training, and resources in Africa. B, to facilitate dialogue and network among experienced and less experienced practitioners and stakeholders. C, to transform mentees into mentors and leaders for the next generation of mentees. And to facilitate further mentorship, internship, scholarship, and job placements for mentees. So I hope that our mentees who are here, we get the best of this program. Before we proceed, please pay attention to the following announcements. The 30 minutes of private mentorship with mentors is still available. Kindly see the screen for further details. For all participants, you are encouraged to put on your videos. And do note that we are streaming live. check out our social media platforms. And for participants, kindly edit the name section on your Zoom account to carry your name. This is to ensure that your attendance is being recorded. Now, before we proceed, I'll be reading out the profiles of our mentors for today's session. First, here we have Gabriel Udo. Okay. Gabriel Udo is a research fellow and doctoral candidate at the Faculty of Law, Europa Universitas Viadrina, Frankfurt. That's in Germany. I recently won the Deutsche Akademische Autosedienz. Sorry for that, that's a German term. Funded position under the VIP Fellowship Program for the research project, Intelligent Weaponry, Law and Ethics. His research specialists are centered mostly on artificial intelligence and law, smart city technologies, robotics, autonomous weapons, technology, and international humanitarian law. He holds a master's degree in international law, several certifications in artificial intelligence and machine learning, and ongoing courses in Python, programming for data analysis, UAVs, and small robotics. Gabriel has several publications in both local and international journals, having presented papers in India, Australia, among others, in these research areas. He holds membership of many national and international associations, including the Nigerian Bar Association and the Robotics and Artificial Intelligence Law Society in Berlin. At leisure, Gabriel plays piano, chess, develops programs with Python, we are glad to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
And our second mentor for today is Blanca's Bar specializes in intellectual property rights and IT law. Intellectual property law, ranging from the establishment of intellectual property protection strategies, administrative diligence before national and international authorities, to litigation before Moroccan courts. She has also developed legal expertise in a wide range of sectors,
Hello, everyone. Please, can we hear Jude? I just want to confirm if we can hear him.
No, I can't hear him right now.
No, since his network is very bad, maybe you can take it up.
Very bad. Okay, thank you very much. So our second mentor for today is Rebab Ezhiri. She's an associate at Africa Advisors, a trainee lawyer, registered at the Casablanca Bar Association. She specializes in intellectual property rights and IT law. Rebab has extensive experience in all aspects of intellectual property law, ranging from the establishment of IP protection strategies, administrative diligence before national and international authorities, to litigation before Moroccan courts. She also has developed legal expertise in a wide range of sectors, including media, artificial intelligence, robotics, advertising, and technology. Her professional and academic background has allowed her to develop an in-depth practice, particularly in the field of transactions and setting up of projects based on intangible assets. She further regularly provides assistance and counseling to creators and inventors regarding the exploitation of their assets. She graduated with a bachelor's degree in private law from the Moroccan University of Kadi Addis Faculty of Law, and she is also one of the first generation of Moroccan legal graduates in IP law with a master's degree from Hassan I University in Setat. She's currently pursuing a PhD on issues and legal considerations pertaining to artificial intelligence and robotics at University Hassan II in Casablanca. Rebab speaks Arabic, French, English, and Spanish. And our third mentor for today is Bolarinwa Kemisola. She is the founder of NextWear Technology, the first wearable technology startup in Nigeria. She's a robotics and embedded system engineer with exceptional tech skills. Her work in the field of wearable technology is significant. She developed a wearable solution for safety and invented a smart bra that detects the earliest stage of breast cancer. Kemisola advocates STEM mainly for girl child, which is her special passion for bridging the STEM gender gap and attracting young women to choose careers in STEM related fields. Thank you very much to all our mentors. Thank you for joining us, and we apologize for the technical issues here. So we'll be going straight to listen to our presentations for today. Let's hear from the first presenter for Group 1. Please unmute yourself and share your slides. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, ma. Good afternoon, everybody. I'll be presenting on behalf of Group 1, so I'll be sharing my slides now.
Jessica, please go ahead to share your slides, or you can start presenting while you work on sharing your slides.
I don't know if you can see my slides.
Yes, we can.
Yes, it's on.
Okay. So the topic for Group 1 is robotics and oversight. Okay. Actually, there's a difference between robots and robotics, and I just got to know when I was preparing for this presentation. So robotics is an interdisciplinary branch of computer science and engineering. Robotics involves design, construction, operation, and use of robots. The goal of robots is to design machines that help and assist human beings. So actually, robot is an automatically operated machine that is any automatically operated machine, and robotics is the engineering discipline dealing with the design, construction, and operation of robots. And robots were created to reduce the tasks done by humans and to make work done by humans very easy. There are actually different types of robots. We have the industrial robots, the cobots, the warehouse robots, the consumer robots, drones, humanoid robots, and the self-driving cars. So I'll pick them one by one. Industrial robots are this type of robots that are mainly deployed in industries for manufacturing. And an example of industrial robots is articulated robots. Typical applications of industrial robots include welding, ironing, and so on. So cobots are collaborative robots designed to assist workers on various tasks. And cobots are used for quality inspections, machine tending, finishing, and the likes. There's also warehouse robots. Warehouse robots are mainly autonomous mobile robots, which are capable of transporting inventory around the warehouse. There are actually 7 types of warehouse robots, and examples of warehouse robots are the cylindrical robots, delta robots, articulated robots, and so on. There's also consumer robots. They are ready to buy and use kind of robots. And they have unique application and they can be used for fun. Okay. We have drones. Drones are flying robots, or also called unmanned aerial vehicles. Examples of drones are the aerial photography drones, drone circus performance, and so on. We also have the humanoid robots. They are this type of robots that look and mimic human behavior. These robots usually perform human-like activities. They can run, they can jump, they can talk and do all those kind of things. They are sometimes designed to look like us, and they have human faces and expressions. So I think we're aware of examples of humanoid robots like Sophia and Ameka. So lastly, we have the self-driving cars. And self-driving cars are like the cars that can walk on their own without someone driving it, literally. An example of self-driving car is the Tesla car. That's very popular. So now robots and oversight. Oversight in robotics refer to an omission or error made by a robot. Humans need to maintain careful oversight of robots to ensure they are doing their work. Robots actually do what they are being told. It depends on the data that it's being imputed in them. However, there are some situations whereby the robots make certain errors. For example, a service bot was shown in a video tumbling down an escalator, crashing into and knocking over shoppers. There are also scenarios whereby autonomous vehicles created to move around get involved in an accident. Even the best of robots sometimes fail in performing tasks. The likelihood of failure increases as robots expand their roles in our lives. There are substantial efforts invested in making robots more reliable. Experience demonstrates that robots operating in unstructured environments are often challenged by frequent failures. But experts are working on ensuring that robots become error-free and reliable. There are various challenges in the field of robotics. Number one, we have the manufacturing procedures. So the manufacturing procedures in robotics haven't seen many changes since ages. When it comes to hardware, a large number of industrial and commercial robots are still made from gears, motors, and actuators. These parts help in movement as well as for other functions, but they make robots rigid and unstable. Although the robots developed using the old age manufacturing processes are highly prone to breaking down due to a large number of rigid moving parts. This challenge can be overcome by developing robots that are flexible, less susceptible to damage, and have fewer and connecting parts. The field of soft robotics is an emerging area that help to design robots that are highly flexible and help businesses in carrying out their task. Another challenge is facilitating human-robot collaboration. Robots can be utilized when they are designed to work in partnership with humans. In an industrial setting, robots have to interact with humans in some form or the other. Human interaction is a major challenge in the field of robotics. Cobots are currently being developed that can cohesively work with humans. However, to make the perfect cobot is a challenge. An ideal cobot must be able to understand human emotions, language, and behavior. They must respond in accordance with human emotional states and verbal communication. Another challenge is creating better power sources. Most present-day robots are highly inefficient in terms of energy consumption. Not much advancement has been made or has been made in the development of power sources for robots. And these robots rely on old age power generation and storage techniques. The batteries used in robots are usually unsafe and they deplete quickly. So there's need for development of new energy sources that can power robots for longer periods of time and they have high safety standards. Another challenge is mapping environment. Robots are still not able to navigate through obstacles in their path. Even if a robot is trained to understand its environment, the slightest alterations require the robots to relearn and adapt to new environments. This can possibly lead to delays in carrying out their assigned tasks or even cause accidents. Machine learning and computer vision technologies are currently being leveraged to overcome the mapping challenge. Another challenge is the minimizing privacy and security risk. With any technology, there's always the question of privacy, ethics, and security. The data used in training the robot can be misused by reprogramming or modifying it, causing the robot to malfunction. Similarly, the data that the robot collects in its life cycle, such as videos, images, and location details, can be hacked and used for malicious purposes by fraudsters. So there's need to ensure safety of data while using robots. Okay, so the effects of errors made by robots. For example, sometimes robots can cause damage, and this depends on the type of damage caused by robots. There can be life-threatening damages. An example is when a robot is used during operation. It can cause any slight mistake can cause a very severe injury or damage. As much as there are good impacts of robots in our environment, for example, robots are used to eliminate dangerous jobs for humans because they're capable of working in hazardous environments. Also in the medical field, robots are used during surgeries and operations. But at the same time, where there's an error made by robots, this leads to a break of trust, and humans will be less susceptible to trust a robot that frequently makes mistake. Another challenge is the employment opportunities. So the advent of robots can lead to loss of jobs for certain people. In conclusion, robots are not error-free. Progress is being made to make them more dependable in the future. Robots are altering the world by increasing human efficiency and accomplishing previously inconceivable tasks. In the future, robots and automation will be extremely beneficial to humanity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Jessica, for your presentation.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Is the second group ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, you have the floor now. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Our topic is robotics as it relates to labor law. As we all know, technology advancement or improvement is not a stagnant process. It's an evolving process. And the variables for its advancement, which include data protection, cybersecurity, employment security, are also evolving. They are not stagnant. The use of robotics and AI by employers to facilitate productivity and growth has effects on both labor and firm practices. However, we can't delve into robotics and how it relates to labor law without making reference to laws guiding employment in Nigeria, and they include the Labor Law, Labor Union Act, Labor Act, Pension Reform Act, Personal Income Tax, and Trade Union Act. These laws regulate employment, security of employment, injury, compensation upon injury, dispute resolution, bonus and pension contribution, and also responsibility in employment contracts. These laws have successfully defined who an employee and a worker is. This definition comes to the assumption that an employee is a natural person recognized by law and not an artificial person. It can, however, be viewed, it can be opinionated that robotics and automated systems are unknown to the law as a person. Against the popular opinion, robotics and automated systems are not in existence to cause total employment redundancy, although this will definitely lead to elimination of some corporate roles, but it will in return create new employment opportunities and will in effect not render human workers totally useless. Some financial institutions in Nigeria have successfully adopted the automated system, such as the introduction of Ziva by Zenith Bank, Leo by UBA, and Alas by Wema Bank. There is also electronic banking centers introduced by GTB. Implications of robotics and automated system. The frequent implication of the existence of robotics and automated systems is risk allocation. Who bears the liability of the acts or omission of the robot? Would it be the developer, operator, or the user? According to paragraph AD of the European Parliament resolution of February 16, 2017, with recommendation to the Commission on Civil Law Rules on Robotics, it was concluded that where an act or omission of a robot is traced to an human agent, such as the manufacturer, the operator, the problem owner, or the user, the agent would be strictly liable for such omission or act. Implications of robotics and automated system. Continuation. The purchase and the maintenance of robotics and automated system is expensive and can be very high to maintain. The operators who has to be properly educated. The operator has to be properly educated to be able to control it. There also has to be in place a contingency plan and business recovery system to cover for some unplanned insolvency. The purchase and maintenance of robotics and automated system is expensive and very high to maintain, and it requires a special knowledge to be able to operate it. These are the problems of robotics and automated system. In conclusion, the issue whether or not robots will have a generally accepted right is no longer a problem. Nigerians have come to the realization that robotics and automated system will not totally cause employment havoc as envisaged. Rather, it will in many ways create new employment opportunities. And I conclude with the words of Peter Adeyemi: let anyone say whatever they want about automation taking jobs. That line of thought will not stop the world from deploying technology and innovation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Zenak, for your presentation. It was a very good one. Keep it up. And I particularly love the quote you concluded with. So now we'll be going into listening to our mentors' comments on the presentations of our mentees. So far, we have here with us Kemi Shola Bolarinwa and Gabriel Udo. So you are both expected to comment on the presentations of the mentees, and you have 10 minutes each. Thank you. And let's start with Kemi Shola Bolarinwa.
Thank you. And thank you for having me on this program. It's a great privilege for me. I'm so excited to be here because we're hearing robotics in Nigeria, that's so fascinating. I want to commend the presenters, the two groups. You did a real job, especially the first group, because that actually speaks about where I am, my field. So my first comment will be like, okay, I love the presentation, but it should be in more of a pictorial. I don't know if you get it, no more picture, because you're dealing with hardware now. So when people see the picture, they will relate with it immediately without even reading the words. Picture with less words, that's fine. I think that will be more better off. Next time, if at all we have someone that doesn't really know what we're talking about, with the picture, and that picture will send some messages to the person. And so far so good. You're right about the recipients of robotics in Nigeria and even across the world. People think robotics will take over the job, or they're coming to take job and all that. Fine. And I'm happy with the second presenter with what you said. Either we like it or not, they are coming, and not that they will come to take over the job, but to create more job opportunity. But now it depends on you to fit into that job opportunity through upskilling yourself. So don't be scared, to move into another field. That is what I'm going to say about that. Then secondly, about the error in robotics. Robot is a machine, fine. And without human support, it cannot work. Without you giving it an instruction, it cannot do anything. So the error comes from you. So whatever error the robot carries out comes from human. It's human error, not the machine. It's just the machine. And I can tell you, machines are accurate. It's just like artificial intelligence. We can say 100%, but I can tell you they're 98% accurate than humans. So it depends on your information you give to the robot. That is what the robot will carry out. I think that's deficiency comes from human. It's human error anyway, not the machine error. So I will also say that. And so the second presenter, I don't really know much about law anyway, and I'm so happy to hear this. I didn't know that robots actually, we have a law pertaining to robotics and automation. It's so awesome to hear this. So we learn every day. I'm learning this right here, sincerely speaking, and it's a very good one. I would say well done for everything. Well done. You've done a great job.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for your awesome comments. I believe the mentees have taken notes. I've also learned from your comments so far. So Gabriel Udo, it's your.
Okay, so first let me say I'm very honored to be on the, I don't know what to call this, to be on the same virtual space with Kemi Shola. Kemi Shola, your next Wear Smart Bra is very I heard a professor mention it in a university here, and I traced it back. So when I saw your name pop up yesterday, I'm like, okay, I think we've talked about this before. So congratulations on that. That's very innovative. And I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot more. I've actually learned one or two things from your comments so far, and I think I'm still going to learn a lot more in the process of this. Okay, so very quickly to the presentation. Sorry, I'm going to keep cracking my throat. I told Juliana I've not felt very well in the past weeks. The first group did quite a great job. Both presentations were quite great. I'm just going to hit just a very few points here, because it seems, as usual, both presenting groups have had they have a huge grasp on the subject matter, and they've done a whole lot of research. It's quite an in-depth research in those areas. I like the fact that the first presenter very quickly differentiated between robotics and robots, because it's a mistake that so many people make. There's a very thin line. It's a language problem, but people seem to interchange it. I make robots. I'm into robotics. So I'm glad that was clearly defined from the beginning. So it just kept your mind on a particular train of thought as the conversation went on, and I really like that. The first group did mention talked about. Sorry, let me look back at the presentation. I think I didn't mark that down. Talked about, basically on the issues of oversight and the issue with machine errors coming in the absence of oversight. I look at this in two ways. There's always going to be problems with the use of robots. Even in completely human settings, you're going to have, you're going to have mistakes. You're going to have people make mistakes. But the conversation comes when people ask the questions concerning responsibility when there's a problem. So the essence of the oversight most times is not to prevent the mistake itself. Is to ensure that when there is a mistake, you can, trust it to somebody. There's a responsible person. The second group mentioned the European Parliament resolution of 2017. Yes, that's also the issue with that resolution. The essence is, let's trust it to somebody. Someone has to be responsible for whatever. So the essence of oversight, from my understanding, is usually not to prevent errors. You cannot conclusively prevent errors. Even when it's just human beings, you can't cut off errors. You're going to have those mistakes. But when there are mistakes, and especially when the mistakes are deemed preventable, let's be able to trace it to somebody. So that's my perception of that. Maybe there's another view to it, which may also be correct. Okay, and then the group also talked about, in most of the conversation, they talked about robots that are being operated by human beings. And this sounds to me like it doesn't give a proper perspective. It does not bring into the discussion the fact that we are getting to the era of automation. Robots, they are robots that are just, switched on. We are getting into we've not reached full autonomy from my perception. There are authors that argue that robots have reached full autonomy and should even be given, rights like human beings. If you read this book by David Gunkel, you see how he places robots on the same pedestal with humans and animals. I mean, we have animal rights. We should also have robots' rights. Otherwise, we have, of course, some countries have gone as far as giving robots citizenship. Sophia was mentioned in group 2. Sophia is a robot and has been granted the citizenship of Saudi Arabia. So these are the things we need to bring into perspective. We are getting into the era where robots are getting, limited dependence on human beings. Things are getting automated. So in the discussion, sometimes we need to also consider automated and autonomous robots. Then finally, on the issue of robots making mistakes in unstructured environments, I think the person corrected that. When that problem is being fixed now by the concept of machine learning. It learns as the environment changes. I don't want to go. It's a very wide concept, but just imagine as a child that is growing up, the child gets to learn about his environment. He makes mistakes, but he learns. Even animals learn in the process. Now, the concept of machine learning is being used also to fix problems. Oh, sorry, I saw a message, so I needed to go check on it. Yeah, I'll just write the title of the book before I'm done. So the concept of machine learning is also being used to sort out the problems of changing environments, changing scenarios, once there are differences, the actual essence of machine learning is that first, the robot learns the first round of things, what's the environment like. Secondly, that when there is a difference, once there's a change in that environment, it learns that change and adjusts accordingly. Somebody mentioned Tesla cars that can drive without adequate human control. I call it adequate human control because there's still a level of human control at some point. Now, these cars, if you mark, if it passes a particular road every day, and then one morning, as it's passing there, you've marked zebra crossing on the road, or the government has marked a zebra crossing on the road, there's a likelihood that the first day, if it does not quickly notice that zebra, it's going to run at a certain speed and get very close to it. Maybe it notices late or something. But on the second day, it won't make that mistake. It's going to learn that there's been a change in this environment and it will adjust accordingly. And I think this can also happen in human beings. If you're driving and you get to a sharp corner, then there's a zebra crossing, or maybe children are crossing the road. Once that happens the first day, the second day, as you're approaching the bend, you mentally just remember that, oh, something was wrong here. So the concept of machine learning is being used to fix the issue with change of environment. Now on group 2 went more into talked about the issue with labor law. I am not a labor law specialist. And this is the reason I avoided labor law to a very large extent in Nigeria. I read the Labor Act. At some point, I felt it gets really embarrassing, sorry to use the word, that we still have certain laws like that, that have that structure. The labor law still has very biased sections, especially when it comes to women working at night, women working in certain establishments and all that. So I totally just avoided labor law. But now that this has come up, the use of robotics in workplace, I usually, when I have this discussion, I have the perception, I look at it from the angle of the human rights angle and the right to work. And this has been the discussion, the wide discussion. Everyone talks about it. Robots will take away our jobs. Robots will take away all our jobs. In fact, in 2020, I think the World Economic Forum, they predicted that in 5 years, that would be like 3 years from now, robots would have taken about 85 million jobs per year. And even in the US, there's that perception that, hey, you have to learn something new. These are things. So people just think, is this something that a robot can do? Yes. Okay, I need to change my field. I need to get out of here. Because there's a perception that in the next couple of years, we're going to have robots take over things. And the same report also, funny enough, says that in the same period, robots will provide about 97 million jobs. So I'm not sure why the fear, the scare. Because as robots are coming up, the robots need human beings, for instance, to produce them. So if you get into learning robotics, then you have a job. It's very simple to fix these things. And then we keep finding loopholes every day. Robots are not going to solve every human problem. They will solve problems, but there are things that only human beings can solve. So you could actually just push yourself. It's actually impressive to understand what the extent to which we are going. We have robots in almost everywhere. We have, even in medicine, it's impressive. As at the year 2000, we had the what did they call it? Da Vinci surgical machine or something like that, that carries out surgeries. And it's been near perfect. There are going to be errors, but like I said earlier, there are also errors in human surgeries. People die under the watch of very good doctors. So it's where we cannot completely excuse errors. These errors are either inbuilt in lines of code or by mistakes made in the process of its operation. So we can't completely cut these things off. But then back to the issue of robots and labor, we are going to have that shift. But people have to learn to adjust themselves accordingly, find the loophole and always fit yourselves in. After all, people started saying that I read an old book where they said in the days where our forefathers used horses, those that used to control horses and camels were saying, in the next couple of years, we're going to lose our jobs. They're producing these iron horses that don't need us anymore. But now I can tell you that there are more drivers than horse riders. So it means cars have provided more jobs. Now, how many horses do you see in Lagos? So we are getting to that point. People just have to adjust accordingly. But then on the other hand, looking back at that quote by Peter Adeyemi, it gets very scary, and it's the truth that he says. The technology and innovation is always going to come. You're not going to avoid it. We can scream all we want. We can say we don't want it, and this is because companies, especially large institutions, are trying to reduce spending. If a job that is done by 10 human beings that you're paying 100,000 every month, that's 1 million naira every month, and you use 1 million naira and build one robot that does the job, and you don't have to pay. You have to spend maybe 5,000 and fuel it or to charge the battery or something. I mean, it's financially imputed, it's financially intelligent to have robots do this kind of jobs. So, and then lastly, the last thing I noticed, I can't remember the particular slide, it just got into my head. I know that the presenter mentioned it, the issue of whether labor laws in Nigeria actually provide for robotics. That's a no-brainer. We're not ready. We are not thinking towards that direction. Right now, Nigerian labor laws don't even provide enough for women and children. So we are going too far when we get to robotics. We're not thinking. I wouldn't be surprised if the government wakes up tomorrow and bans the use of robots in workplaces. We are getting to that point. We've had systems where courts have made decisions that you realize, with all due respect to Nigerian judges. I'm still a practicing lawyer in Nigeria, but you realize that there's this vacuum in understanding how technologies work. And we are still, even the Evidence Act has not been able to cover all that. So we are still struggling around how to accommodate the use of robotics in workplaces. It's going to be difficult, and I'm not sure how soon we are going to get there. But again, we're not there. I'm not sure we are very close to having labor laws that also cover robots and robotics. In all, thank you to all the presenters. I'm really, really impressed. And I think I've also learned, I've seen so many things. I've seen people say so much about RAS, that's robotics and autonomous systems. It's quite impressive. So thank you. And this is my comment for now.
Okay. Thank you so much for your enlightening comments. Now, this is the beauty of the JIIPCC program. You must have to learn something. And no matter how much you have learned already, there will always be something new for you to learn. And it's always a pleasure for me personally anchoring any session. To just highlight the key points that Gabriel Udo talked about. Technology is here to stay. And despite the fear that it's robotics in particular may take away jobs, it's going to create more jobs. And he has given a historical analysis of that. And also the fact that we should not resist technology, but rather embrace it. It's disruptive, but then we can blend in. So thank you once more. We'll be hearing more from our mentors, and now we'll be looking at the questions that have been sent in by the mentees. I'll paste them here. Okay, yeah, they've already been pasted, but we have 4 questions. So I'll be asking them, and I'll refer to which mentor should respond to the questions. The first question is, what is the margin for staff redundancy in the next 5 years? What is the margin for staff redundancy in the next 5 years? And I would like Kemi Shola Polariwa to respond to this question. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I would not say the margin is high, because I never see any redundancy of staff in this era. Like people say, in the future, I can tell you we are in the 1st industrial revolution. The future is already here. We're already in the future. Technology is here to stay. Robotics is here to stay. I've mentioned earlier, it's not going to take anybody's job. Fine, it's going to take job. Fine. Like Mr. Ju said earlier, Mr. Udo said earlier that, okay, for a manufacturer, for a company owner, you have 10 employee, and you can get a robot that can practically work for you, when you dispose the 10 employee, fine. But those employee, if they're upskilled enough, they can still fit into another job while we have the robot there. So the redundancy, the margin is low in next 5 years. No, nobody's going to be, no staff will be neglected. Staff will not be neglected. Employee will not be neglected. People will still employ. They will still employ. But it's not depends on you if you fit into it. So there's a need for you to upskill. Just choose it. There's a need for you to upskill. I'm happy to see Mr. Hudo, because I can see that you have a background in law, and here you are in robotics or automation. You're talking about programming language. It's two different thing. You can see it's two different field of, it's two different field. But he can fit into it because he have already upskilled himself to the future, and the future is there to this new skill. To this new era. So that is what I would say. That okay, for you to fit into the new era job, the new skill, the new job, you have to acquire all this new skill. Don't be scared to go into another field. Like, okay, I'm coming from a background of law. How will I cope? I don't even have the knowledge of engineering. I don't even have the knowledge of computer science. No. No matter what field you're coming from, you can still take. I do say that. You can take, irrespective of your field, you can still take and meet up with the newest skill. The future job. So the margin is low. I can say it's very, very low. People will still employ. Company will still employ.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your response, ma'am. I'll be reading the next question, and this goes to Gabriel Udo. Is Nigeria really ready to adopt robotics and automated systems? I think you partially mentioned that already. Okay, sir.
I think I think that that formed the last part of my discussion of the group presentations. But let me just add, of course, to answer the question very quickly, we are not ready. And I mentioned this 2 weeks ago in one of the mentorship sessions, that there are too many things that are required to prepare this readiness. We need a legal system, we need an economic system, we need a lot more systems to be ready. You can hear that at the European Parliament level, there are discussions. In Europe, they have the Artificial Intelligence Act, they have several data protection laws, they have all sorts of laws to prevent, even to work for systems that are not yet in place. So for Nigeria, we're not ready, not even being really ready. We're not ready. Our economic system, our political systems are not ready. Our economic systems are not ready. Our legal systems are really way behind. We are still using Infant Relief Act of 1861. We are still using laws that, the lawyer is swinging his head. You understand? So this we're very far. I think we're very far from that. The issue of being ready, and it's going to be a long way out, because to have a system ready to adopt these things, apart from solving the problems, like I mentioned earlier, fixing the other issues, we now need to look at what labor practices we have. Ms. Gemishola has mentioned the need to upskill, and to slide a little bit into the first question, we may likely have redundancies, but it's not going to be caused by the evolution of robotics in the Nigerian system. We have other problems. We have companies that are not able to pay salaries anymore. So the list of our problems will be robotics. Somebody asked me, like the Leo owned by UBA. Somebody mentioned when we had this conversation and said, yeah, that could have been somebody, one person or two persons doing that job. And I said, so how much would UBA be paying two people to do the job? Because right now they're not paying Leo, it's just running on its own. So what makes you think UBA, in considering the current Nigerian economy, what makes you think they would have the money to pay 5 people to have conversations with people at the same time? Because Leo does this. So it's also a probability that they wouldn't have the money to pay, so they would find an alternative. 5 people wouldn't still have the job because they wouldn't be able to afford it. So it takes us back to the issue of having an economic system that is not, it's not coherent enough. It's not working. A legal system is not even understanding the rest of the systems. So we are struggling with every system. The problems will be there, but they won't be because we now have robots to do the jobs. No, I don't think so. I think it's usually an excuse used by those who do not really enjoy the fact that automation is coming. But I don't think we're ready to adopt any of this anytime soon.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for also mentioning the likely solutions to that. I'll be skipping question 3 because I'll go back to Mr. Udo to answer question 3. But let me go to question 4, which Kemi Shola should respond to. Is the invention of robotics a motion to scrap manpower? Thank you, ma'am.
Come again, please. Come again.
Okay, the question is the invention of robots a motion to scrap manpower?
Describe. You mean emotional? The invention of robots. Okay, scrap manpower. Oh, okay, you're saying, okay, now I get it. Robots, I would say they are forced labor. That's the meaning of robots. They're forced labor, and you know what labor is for you to have a maid in your house. When you have a maid in your house, maybe you have someone in the house to help you. Some house chores that you hope to do yourself, and you have someone to do it for you. You feel relaxed. I would say it will, it will take some job off human anyway, stress and all that. So that is why they are here to help you. We call them labor. They're forced labor. You know, errand boy or errand girl. That's what robot is, to relieve humans. So the invention of robots is already there. So there's not like that. It's to ease human from some task, especially repetitive task, things that you do almost every day. You wake up, you clean your house, you wash the plates. I'm just using that as an illustration. Some things that repetitive tasks that you do almost every day. So you have a robot there to do it for you. You feel relieved, you feel relaxed, and you have more time for other activity that you need to carry out. No, that's it. That's the essence of inventing a robot to lift some work out of you.
Oh, okay. Thank you, ma'am. So it's still emphasizing the fact that technology in any aspect of it did not come to take away anything from humans, but rather add it to help us. So back to Mr. Udo, the third question here. What is the likely cause of frequent failures in robots?
Well, there are too many causes of frequent failures in robots, and none of them is the likeliest. It's like asking, what's the likely cause of having children grow into bad people? There are too many factors. The environment could cause it, like you mentioned earlier. It could be a problem with the codes itself. Who did well for autonomous systems? Who designed the robots? It could be the structure itself of the robots. There are certain robots that, I give an instance. If you've watched one of these very popular guys that makes robots in Silicon Valley, Boston Dynamics, they just had one, I think 2 years ago, Spot, SPOT. SPOT is built like a dog, but it can navigate all sorts of environments. A robot that has tires cannot enter places that Spot can enter. Spot has legs. It can actually bounce on rocks. It falls and can get up. It can flip itself and all that. So environmental factors could affect the structure of the robot, rather, could affect, could bring failures. I mean, like the one that they mentioned that tumbled in a supermarket and all that. It could also be that the environment was unpredicted. Some robots are not built to work in crowds. Most robots that are built to work in factories are, machineries that are specifically, some of them are glued to a spot. You just have the arms moving around, picking stuff here and dropping here. If you put them in the wrong place, it's going to cause accidents. So it could be the environment, it could be the structure of the robots, it could be the design itself. It could also be the thinking, the mentality of the roboticist, whoever designed it. Some people have particular perceptions when they are designing things. If you have a soldier polish a shoe, you would know the difference. I mean, the same shoe I would polish, a soldier picks up a brush and polish and, you know, makes it look as if he's trying to scrub a wall. So it's people's perceptions are transferred into the things that they create, especially in autonomous systems. The lines of code that define how these things move are the perceptions of the people that created them. If you have a racist build a robot, the robot is most likely going to carry particles of the mentality of the person that created it. And this is another conversation entirely. So yes, there are so many factors, too many, especially when it comes to autonomous systems, autonomous robots. Then if I could quickly just add to what Ms. Kemishola said about in the previous question, the issue of robots being able to, or being built for the purpose of scraping manpower. I personally agree. Robots are built for that purpose. And as a matter of fact, it should be built for that purpose. Now, this is the flip side. People that look at the argument from the other perspective as, no, we shouldn't allow robots to replace human beings. If you see images, if you turn on CNN now and look at what's going on in Ukraine, look at the number of corpses, soldiers dying, just mentally replace those corpses with particles of machines, you know, robots that have been broken apart, and see whether you would not feel better. So we have the argument on both sides, but yes, robots are practically built to replace you. That's why every day a human function is being perceived. You know, they try to transfer them into robots. Is this something that can be automated? Is this something that a robot can do? If it's something that a robot can do, companies would rather use this to save costs of paying human beings. Some people could use this for safety purposes, like in robots in armed conflicts. Drones can get into areas and do surveillance. Like in the fight against Boko Haram, you hear soldiers go to Borno and you hear 200 soldiers getting killed and all that. These are things that you could send an autonomous drone. At most, a drone would be shot down and 200 lives would be saved. You know, so we have the argument on both sides. But yes, I agree. I personally do agree that robots are built for the purpose of replacing humans and taking over certain functions for purposes of safety and so many other purposes you could think of. But then when we look at it from the perspective of the neo-ethical perspective, people that believe that a human thing should be a human thing. What should be done by a human being should be done by a human being. Don't transfer, you know, especially in Africa, how we train children. Allow the child to wash. Why is he using washing machine? No, let him wash with his hands and all those things. We are so used to having that perception. But if we consider the flip side, health implications, Ms. Kemishola mentioned the fact that there are things you do that could be harmful to your health. If you get a robot that could help you do house cleaning that you clean every morning, you just get a Roomba. A Roomba is an automated house cleaner of some sort. You drop it on the floor and it goes around and does the picking, and you're preparing to go to your office in the morning. Instead of having to sweep, thinking of how to clean your child and doing it's mentally unhealthy. So if you can transfer some of these functions on robots and reduce the workload on yourself, of course, why not? So yeah, I think they are built for that purpose, and it's a good purpose. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you once more for your enlightening comments, and your perspectives are quite balanced. Thank you, sir. So that's all for the questions for this session. Before we move on, we would like to get final comments from our mentors to the mentees. We start with Kemishola. Thank you, ma.
Wow, thank you. I would say I don't really have much to say because they've done a great job, and I'm so happy to see this thing for Komi, because I can see they don't really have background of engineering at all. I mean, the mentees, right? If I'm right, I think they are law students, right? Mr. Jude,
Most
I'm
of them are
asking.
law students.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yes, that's amazing. That's diversity. Amazing, amazing. I'm so happy to see this. So I on and off, I should be expecting less, but this is amazing for them to know to come up with this write up, especially know much about robotics. Like like you mentioned at the first slide, the first presenter. The difference between robots and robotics. People really mix the two up. Differentiating it. Coming up with the types of robots and all that. And I want to tell you, not only Tesla, the autonomous that you mentioned, the driverless car, we have educational robots kits, educational robot. They're also, what's it called? They're also driverless cars that we use. We use that to advocate anyway. That's why I'm kind of concerned. We use that in schools, to learn robotics, to learn robotics, and we use it to teach basically STEM, to simplify STEM, mathematics and all that. So it's also a driverless car. All right. So that's it. It's an amazing presentation, and well done, well done, well done. And I think we're getting there in Nigeria. So Mr. Udo, don't let us lose hope. We can see the readiness is there. If our guard at the top are not ready, I mean, we're ready. The youths are ready, but the mommies and the dads, I don't think those are ready, but the youths are ready for the income of robots. So I think we're ready. It's a very welcome idea. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you once more, man, for your encouragement. Yes, mentees, I hope you heard that and you are much more encouraged to do more. Okay, Mr. Udo, your final comments.
Okay, I'm going to try to be very quick. I'm still laughing because Ms. Kemishola said something that most people say when I make those comments about the Nigerian position on robotics and all that. Everybody thinks it's, oh no, you're making it sound like we are too backward. Even when I go on conferences and people make those comments, they're like, okay, we're going to transfer this technology to Africa, and I tell them, don't bring it. It's not going to work. We're not ready. They're like, no, don't do that. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. I'm like, no, I'm a realist. You can't bring, I see people carry Tesla cars in Lagos, and I'm wondering if this runs over someone, we're just going to have people argue, and then they are gone and someone is dead. No responsibility, nothing. We're not ready. So I'm not being pessimistic, I'm being realistic. And we need to learn to tell ourselves the truth. Our governments, like you've mentioned, our guys at the top are not ready. If we talk too much about robotics, trust me, they will ban it. Last year, they banned some cryptocurrencies, banned Twitter. Once anything looks a little confusing, they will ban it. So these conversations are best left academic. I'm still struggling to understand how your company has been afloat. Sincerely, I congratulate you for that, because I understand. I had worked with an internal revenue service. I understand taxation in Nigeria too. That's like the first part. They tax everything out of you, and then if you still struggle to stay afloat with the taxation, you still now have to get certain permits and all sorts of things, just to ensure that your company is struggling. If your tech company is not struggling, then you're not doing well in Nigeria. They want to see you suffer. And then if you get out to the US or somewhere else, get near Silicon Valley, somebody buys your company for $1 million and everybody begins to scream, oh, she didn't need to sell it. Oh no, she would have just continued in Nigeria. She was doing well. So yeah, we are certainly not close to appreciating technology as much as we should. And that's that's my opinion. Then to the mentees, like Ms. Kola has said, the Kemishola has said, it's I'm really, really impressed. I mean, I didn't learn as much about robotics at that stage. I learned much more about robotics when I started my PhD. I think deep into my PhD, or when I started doing Python programming, and then did some studies on small robotics and drones, because one of the chapters of my thesis was strictly on, my professor telling me, go back and understand how robots work before you start telling me what laws should guide them. I mean, you can't just go and, put laws on things that you don't understand. So for people, for students who are still doing their first degree to understand this much, it's highly, highly impressive. And I've learned a lot of things today. And finally, like Ms. Kemishola said, don't just be a lawyer, learn every other thing. Trust me. The future is very scary. if we hold on to one line of thinking, because believe me, the robots are coming and they'll take everything. So you have to find some space. You know, some countries are already using what they call the automated judging systems. You know, I heard there's one in China, there's one here in Europe that was test run 2 years ago, and it gave the decisions it made was 99% correct or 98% correct compared to the 5 other judges of the European Court of Human Rights. So we're getting to the point that everyone, you should not think I'm a lawyer, I can't lose my job. Hey, if you don't upskill, you're going to lose your job. You don't know what people are thinking. You don't know what roboticists, what scientists, what electrical engineers like Kemishola, you don't know what they're planning for us. You don't know what they're building in there. When you get into labs, you get into warehouses and see things that are being kept, you should know that you need to learn so many other things. Otherwise, in the next 5 to 10 years, you just be a lawyer, but you may go to a courtroom and you just find a system there. They tell you dump your evidence and go away. So thank you very much for the opportunity to also learn from all of you, and I'm really grateful. Thank you, Juliana, for organizing this. Thank you, Jude. Thank you, Ms. Kemishola, and again, it's been an honor to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I must comment again your balanced perspective. Despite being a realist, you still say that there is hope. So thank you for that. And thank you once more, Kemishola. Before I hand over to our convener, Juliana, I want to thank all the participants. Thanks to our mentors again. And thanks, Juliana, for the opportunity to mentor and to anchor and at the same time learn from the mentors. I believe our participants can still have access to them. You can just request through our convener and you'll be able to reach them to learn more. Remember that the one-on-one mentorship opportunity is still open. So you get a link through your WhatsApp group. And also the registration for the next quarter is already on. Do well to spread the word. Thank you very much. Over to you, Ma.
Thank you so much, Jude, for that amazing moderation. Thank you for anchoring beautifully. So I really want to thank our mentors today. Thank you, Mrs. Kemishola. Thank you, Gabriel. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for sharing with us. I've actually learned so much. And the way Mr. Gabriel ended it, he said, believe me, the robots are coming. And I was like, oh my God. And another thing that Ms. Kemishola said was, upgrade your skill, upgrade yourself, because these robots are coming. But you will not be displaced if you've been able to upgrade your skill. So with that, I want to thank everyone. Please let's put our videos on. It's picture time. Put your videos on and take a picture. Take a picture of the mentors that we have here. Post about what you learned online and make sure you tag them so I can see my beautiful people here. Hi, Zainab. Hi, Sophia. Hi, Jessica. We have beautiful ladies here. So I'm sure maybe the guys are shy, but at least we're seeing beautiful ladies in our midst. And I think that's the future, actually. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Please take a picture, post what you learned on LinkedIn, tag the mentors, and tell them thank you. That's one of the ways to appreciate them for what they have done. Thank you all. So we'll be seeing ourselves again next week, Friday, and we'll be treating, we'll be talking about data privacy and protection. And I think that's also going to be an amazing topic. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jude. Thank you so much for moderating today. Take care, everyone. Love you all. Thank you, Mr. Gabriel. Thank you, Mrs. Kemishola. Bye.